Up first on Fox, we do have some breaking news coming into our newsroom. This is out of Horry County this morning. The Horry County Police Department is on the scene of a standoff at a hunting bow trail in the Forest Brook area. That's where Fox's Megan Miller joins us now live to explain the latest in this situation. Megan.
Hey there, Libba. We are about a mile away from that scene on Hunting Bow Trail to bring you more late breaking news as soon as it develops. Live in Horry County this morning, I'm Megan Miller, Fox Morning News.
All right, Megan, thank you. Stay with us as we get more information. Well, we have some more tragic news from the South by Southwest festival that happened overnight in Austin, Texas. Authorities say a car plowed into an outdoor crowd and killed at least 2 people. Injured 23 others. Austin's police chief says the suspect was intoxicated and driving the wrong way on a one-way street. Police say officers tased the suspect and then took him into custody. He now faces 2 counts of capital murder. Police plan to release the suspect's name this afternoon. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder is endorsing a plan to reduce sentences for certain drug offenses. He says this would reduce the federal prison population by more than 6,500 inmates in 5 years. Holder plans to appear before the U.S. Sentencing Commission today to endorse the Commission's proposed changes. He says the penalties would still be tough for violent crimes while finding ways to reduce the costs of the federal prison system. Federal prisons now hold about 216,000 prisoners, with only 5% of the world's population. Holder says the U.S. has nearly a quarter of the world's prison inmates. President Obama says he's committed to declassifying a pending State Intelligence Committee report on Bush-era interrogation and detention practices. Mr. Obama ended the controversial interrogation program more than 5 years ago, but the 6,300-page report on the program by the Senate Intelligence Committee currently remains classified. Hey, on Fox Morning News, we have the names of the victims that were killed in a plane crash Saturday in Hartsville.
Search teams looking for the missing Malaysian aircraft spot something in the water. I'm Kelly Wright in New York, and I'll tell you what they found. Details coming up.
And you may have lost an hour of sleep, but daylight saving is a boost some businesses say they need right now. Up first on Fox this morning, we have details. At least 2 passengers aboard the missing Malaysian aircraft used stolen passports. Now, Interpol is working to determine if others aboard used false documents as well. Meanwhile, the Malaysian government, aided by at least half a dozen other nations, plans to intensify efforts to find the missing airplane. Kelly Wright has more.
It's important that we are out there looking, and that's a search which is now being...
Well, locally, we now know the names of the victims from Saturday's deadly plane crash in Darlington County. Captain Andy Locklear with the Darlington County Sheriff's Office says the crash happened just before 7 Saturday night near Fox Hollow Drive and Forest Drive near the Hartsville Airport. Coroner Todd Hardy confirms that 3 people died when the Lance Air IVP plane crashed. He identifies the victims as 61-year-old George Rogers of Society Hill, 29-year-old Joseph Laughlin III from Pelzer, and 75-year-old Leslie Bradshaw of Hartsville. The Darlington County Fire Chief says even though the plane crashed near homes, none of them were damaged. The plane crashed after taking off from the Darlington Jetport, about a mile southeast of Hartsville Regional Airport. Yesterday, federal investigators held a press conference at the crash site. They'll be on the scene for 3 days. Investigators with the NTSB will look into weather conditions and the conditions of the plane to see if it was in one piece when it crashed, or if it hit something to break it up mid-air. Yesterday afternoon, charred remains of the small plane littered the ground. Lori DeWitt and her husband were just 2 of many people who stopped by to check out the damage. They live about a mile from where the crash happened. DeWitt says she knew George Rogers for years and was stunned to learn that he was on the plane.
For me, all pieces. I was at church and we come from church to here, and then when they said George Rogers, I couldn't believe it.
The FAA licensed the plane as an experimental amateur aircraft. Right now, officials don't know who the pilot was. Autopsies will happen today. The last time 2 people died in a plane crash near Hartsville was August of 2006. The plane crashed while it was trying to land at the Darlington Jetport. That plane was from Georgia. 13's Shane Norris joins us now live from Horry County. And Shane, what is it like where you are?
Libba, the sleet has stopped out here for now, but the roads are still pretty icy. You can see traffic is picking up a little bit here along the 17 bypass and Faro Parkway. And I just want to let you guys know, when traffic does pick up, you want to leave plenty of space between you and the cars ahead of you. That way you have more time to brake. And if you do have to brake, don't slam on the brakes. You want to brake slowly and just maintain a lower speed and give yourself more time to get wherever you're going. But most of all, if you can avoid the roads, you should today. At last check, the South Carolina Highway Patrol was reporting at least 8 accidents across our viewing area this morning so far, and there were about 70 across the state. We're getting temperatures of around 19 degrees with the wind chill out here now, and it's really just not the best conditions for driving, so if you can stay at home, you should. Live in Myrtle Beach, Shane Norris, News 13.
News 13's Shane Norris is live there on Restaurant Row in Myrtle Beach with more. Shane.
That's right, guys. The crews got the first call to the fire at about 2:16 this morning. By the time they got here at 2:25, they said the entire building was in flames. They were through the roof, and eventually the building was a total loss, but crews did get it under control. Now, they were originally worried about threats to the nearby buildings, but they contained the fire and there was no collateral damage, according to the chief. Now, right now, crews are just mopping up and going through the actual remains of the structure to investigate and try and find a cause for this fire, and just to double check and make sure that there were no people or animals or anything in the fire. There aren't any people suspected to have been in the fire or in the building during the fire. No firefighters were injured. Now, Horry County fire crews, North Myrtle Beach and Myrtle Beach all responded to this fire, so it was a real team effort. There are still crews out here on scene working, and the southbound lanes of North Kings Highway are still closed. They're rerouting that traffic through one of the northbound lanes, but if you have to come this way on your commute, just take things nice and slow through here, or try and find another way around if you can. Chief Crosby with Horry County Fire said the biggest struggle today for his crews was just the colder weather and the size of this building, but they, again, do have things under control now. We'll bring you any more information we get as it develops, but for now, live in Myrtle Beach, Shane Norris.
Shane Norris joins us now live in Myrtle Beach to show us what it's like out there. Shane.
Well, guys, one thing that hasn't changed since yesterday, the temperature. It's still pretty cold out here, but one thing that has changed is the conditions on the roads. I'm here on the side of the 17 bypass in Horry County. Things are a lot clearer, and that's the same story on Highway 501, Highway 544, and several other major roads in the county. This stuff, the ice that was all over the place yesterday, that's mostly gone now. It's mostly melted away yesterday because we had heavier traffic and we had the sun shining on the asphalt a little bit. Then it dripped off the side and refroze down in the grass or sank in. We also had DOT trucks out across the county all day yesterday working on putting some salt down. Now, the secondary roads in the county, the frontage roads, the smaller, less traveled roads, maybe some neighborhood roads, not quite as clear, so still be cautious if your morning commute involves those routes. But for the most part, the main roads in the county are safer. This time yesterday morning, we were seeing the Highway Patrol responding to 8 to 10 incidents. It's down to just 4 or 5 this morning, so that's pretty much been cut in half in our viewing area, which is good. Now, some other places that might be a little dangerous are parking lots in less traveled areas. You want to watch out for those. We'll have more on how to stay safe in those areas in the next half hour. But for now, live in Horry County, Shane Norris, News 13.
There, good morning, Shane.
That's right, Rusty. We didn't see a lot of snow here. We did see cold temperatures, and we did see that sleet, which made the road conditions yesterday pretty dangerous. But today, things have cleared up quite a bit, especially on the main highways. Now, your secondary roads and your frontage roads, those are still a little bit dangerous. There's some black ice and patchy ice. DOT's reporting patchy ice across the county, but things are a lot safer out there this morning. But one place you might not expect things to be as bad is in your parking lot, but that's where things are worse. Now, I'm here in the parking lot at our studio here in Myrtle Beach by the back gate, and you can see there's quite a bit of ice, probably about 1/8 of an inch over the ground here, and that makes things quite treacherous if you're not expecting it and if you're not used to it. So if you are going out today to work or shopping, be careful when you pull into those parking lots in places where the sun didn't hit as much and there wasn't as much traffic yesterday. Now, if you do encounter this ice, we want to give you a little bit of A heads up and some tips to keep things safe. If you're walking on ice, you want to keep your center of gravity over your feet and do a little penguin shuffle. That keeps you from slipping as much if you get onto that ice. So remember, stay safe and stay warm out there. For now, though, live in Horry County, Shane Norris.
According to SCDOT, the section of Highway 17 that goes from Pawleys Island to the Horry County line is the second busiest stretch of road in all of Georgetown County.
County leaders are working on a median project they say will make a stretch of that highway safer. But nearby business owners worry it'll cause trouble. News 13's Shane Norris joins us now live in front of the hammock shops in Pawleys Island to explain. Shane.
Georgetown County opened up discussion for this project back in February of last year, and now nearly a year later, it's in its final planning stages. Shop owners at the hammock shops in Pawleys Island are upset over a project many say will hurt the small town's economy.
We're just now coming back from a huge downturn with the economy, and we need every positive thing we can get to help us build our businesses, and I don't see this as a positive for the community.
The SCDOT allocated $2.5 million for the project through the Grand Strand Area Transportation Study, or GSATS. It will add a raised median to Highway 17 from Baskerville Drive to Waverly Road in the North Causeway. Jackie Broach, Georgetown County's public information officer, said the main goal is to improve traffic congestion in a safe and aesthetic manner. But Diane Rostello, who owns the Audubon shop and gallery in the hammock shops, says there's no need for change.
Making left-hand turns and U-turns and the trucks and everything with this cement thing in the middle is going to hurt our businesses on either side of the road and cause more trouble than I don't think we have now.
According to a DOT study, the stretch of 17 saw nearly double the average number of accidents for similar roads in the area, while the Transportation Research Board's research shows 4-lane roads with raised medians see 57% fewer collisions than those without. Confusion over the looks of the median also has shop owners upset.
And my initial thoughts were, that's pretty nice, make the highway more beautiful. But then the more information I got, it really wasn't a beautification project. It was going to be just a big curb in the middle of the road.
But the GSATS website shows the majority of the project will involve a landscaped median. Now, Broach said at those initial meetings there was little pushback from any citizens back in 2012, and only recently have those citizens begun to raise concerns. Live in Pawleys Island, Shane Norris, News 13.
News 13's Shane Norris caught up with the Coastal Carolina students. He joins us now live with more. Shane.
Well, Libba, Letitia Seaman and Kyla Von Gran are roommates, and though they grew up in very different parts of the capital city of Pretoria, they both feel the loss of Mandela. Singing and mourning. For the country of South Africa and many around the world, the past few days have been full of mixed emotion.
We were all kind of waiting for it to happen, but I mean, it's still pretty shocking. It's sad.
Once we heard that, it was shocking. It was really shocking, but I feel like this is going to be a huge step for South Africa.
Born only a few years before the end of apartheid, Kyla Von Gran considers herself part of a new generation of South Africans.
Ever since I was in school, there was no like segregation or anything. We were like all equal and we all had the same opportunities. There wasn't like in all sport teams, academic, school-wise, everything everybody had the same chances.
Von Gran's roommate, Letitia Seaman, grew up several miles away in a different part of Pretoria.
Kind of in an area where there was a lot of crime. So basically that kind of formed my perspective about the new South Africa and growing up in it.
Seaman later moved and then headed off to college and saw a different side of the new era.
That kind of shifted my perspective again and kind of made it so much better about how things are going in South Africa.
Both young women agree that without Mandela, their South Africa would not be the same.
He was like always like this major hero for everyone, and everyone like looked up to him and everything he did for the country. And
he wanted to work together to resolve it, and I feel like if we can follow in that, South Africa can get to a much better position much faster.
Now, after college, Von Gran says she plans to head back to South Africa for grad school and to continue her running career. Seaman is still divided on whether she wants to go back or stay here in the United States. Live in the studio, Shane Norris, News 13.
And 11.
Good evening, I'm Shane Norris. Thanks for joining us. First up tonight, with each day that passes, we hear more stories of survival from the Georgetown fire. News 13's Leah Mishkin has the story of how one man helped save a woman's life and lost his dog in the process.
This painting in Georgetown, Leah Mishkin, News 13.
Walters said 7-month-old Jake already knew 40 different commands. A number of groups work to help those who lost everything, like the folks who came out to Wildfish Grill earlier today. There are ways you can help as well. You can contribute firsthand to an account at the First Citizens Bank on Front Street near the scene of the fire. There's also a concert scheduled for next Thursday at 5:30 in Georgetown's Francis Marion Park. All proceeds from those events go to the Fire Relief Fund. For a complete list of fundraisers to help the city and the victims of the fire, you can go to WBTW.com. The West Florence Fire Department responded to a house fire in Timmonsville this morning. West Florence assisted Timmonsville units already on the scene. According to West Florence officials, no one was injured. Earlier this month, Florence County offered to bring the Timmonsville Fire Department under its fire protection plan. Last Thursday, the Timmonsville Fire Department failed to respond to an oven fire and were late responding to a transformer fire. Nearly 600 people from all over the country came out to the Darlington Raceway this morning for the first ever Darlington Marathon. The race also included a half marathon, 10K, and 5K. One of those runners included 64-year-old Steve Hughes. This was Hughes' 300th marathon, 240 of which were completed in the last 5 years. He's also one of only 7 runners to compete 100 marathons in 1 year. Now, Michael Hartzell was also at the race. He runs the marathons in memory of his son who passed away. Hartzell raises money for running and donates it to St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
I've always run, but I wanted to do some endurance races, and I figured what better way to do something and raise in memory of my son. So I chose St. Jude's because they help children out.
That's a nice accomplishment, and I'm looking at this point as what will my kids and my grandson remember me for, and you know, he ran. So.
For more information on Hartzell and Hughes, you can check out WBTW.com or tune into News 13 tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. The friends and families of the Conway plane crash victims held a memorial run today. The plane crashed near the Wood Creek subdivision just off Dunn Shortcut Road and Warm Springs Lane back in August. Donnie Becker, Ken Puma, and James Major Jr. were all on board and all died. There was a $15 entry fee for the poker run, and the group rode from location to location collecting cards. They started at the boathouse and ended up at Sundown Pub. Donnie Becker's father says his son lived life to the fullest.
Donnie was a loving, caring individual, wide open as a young man should be, but he loved his friends very much. He loved the school, and we're trying to do this to give back to that school.
The money raised will be divided 3 ways. It will be given to Donnie's Memorial Fund, to a local Alzheimer's association, and to the Boston Terrier Rescue of South Carolina in honor of the different victims. A Florence group found a unique way to spread awareness about homelessness this evening. The Family Promise of Florence hosted their first ever Cardboard Box City event, where young people from around the community will get to experience what it's like to live in boxes overnight. They'll be sleeping in boxes outside at West Florence High School. All money raised from the event will go to help the homeless in the community.
We wanted something that was interactive, that the kids could really understand the concept and would be more than just an hour or 2 type thing, that it would be an overnight thing, and it'll leave lasting memories.
Of the children who attend Florence School District 1, Anna says about 126 are actually homeless. Family Promises hopes to help families like that. Coming up later on News 13 at 11, the gridlock in Congress continues over how to avoid the impending government shutdown. We'll hear the latest from Washington when News 13 continues. But first, let's see what Lauren and Andrew will be up to tomorrow morning.